Welcome, everyone, to Citizenship Confidence Live. I'm your host, Andrea, citizenship coach, storyteller, and professional panic tamer. Today, we're tackling one of the most terrifying moments in the U.S. citizenship interview. What happens when your brain goes completely blank? And to help me explore this, I have with me David, who's preparing for his naturalization test. David, tell us the truth. Have you ever forgotten an answer mid-practice?
Oh, Andrea, not just once, dozens of times. It's like my brain takes a coffee break right when I need it most. I'll be sitting there, the officer asks, "Who was the first president?" And my mind screams, it's on the tip of my tongue, but all I manage to say is,
Classic. You're definitely not alone. That blank mind moment is universal. It happens to students, actors, even seasoned citizens. The trick isn't never forgetting. It's recovering smoothly when you do.
So you're saying even if I forget, I can still pass?
Absolutely. Let me tell you something important. The U.S. citizenship interview isn't a gotcha session. The officer isn't there to make you fail. They want to see that you understand the material and can communicate it. Forgetting one question doesn't define your whole test.
That's comforting, because I thought if I freeze once, it's game over.
Nope. Think of it like baseball. You get several pitches, not just one swing. You only need 6 correct answers out of 10 to pass the civics part. So even if you blank on one, breathe, reset, and hit the next one out of the park.
That's a great metaphor, but what if I forget something simple, like the number of senators? I know it's 100, but sometimes it just disappears.
That's where the anchor technique comes in. Attach the number to an image. Picture a U.S. flag, 50 stars for 50 states. Each state has 2 senators. 2 times 50, boom, 100. You see the image in your head, and suddenly, the number pops right out.
So kind of like creating mental shortcuts?
Exactly. It's not just memorization, it's association. Your brain loves stories and pictures. For example, imagine George Washington as the first president holding a giant #1-inch foam finger. You'll never forget it again.
I love that. So if I forget, I can visualize instead of panicking.
That's the secret. When panic hits, shift focus from, "Oh no, I forgot," to, "Let me recall the picture." And if nothing comes, politely say, "I'm sorry, could you please repeat the question?" The officer will. Sometimes, hearing it again jogs the memory.
That's allowed? I thought repeating was a bad sign.
Not at all. Asking once for clarification shows you're thoughtful, not clueless. Remember, communication is part of the English test, too. They want to see you interact naturally.
Wow, that's such a relief. I was imagining myself sitting there frozen like a statue.
Statues are for parks, not interviews. You're a person. Breathe, smile, and stay human. Officers understand nerves. They've seen it all. Trembling hands, sweaty palms, even tears. The key is to keep moving forward.
So the best thing to do is not to dwell on a mistake?
Exactly. Forget it. Literally. Move on to the next question. Many people mess up early but recover beautifully and pass. It's like forgetting one lyric in a song. You don't stop singing. You keep the tune going.
That's encouraging. I feel like I've been treating the test like a performance, not a conversation.
And that's the biggest shift right there. The interview is a conversation about America. Once you realize that, the pressure drops and your memory starts cooperating again. Let's dive deeper into those memory tricks because that's where the real confidence grows. David, have you ever noticed that you remember songs from years ago, but forget what you studied yesterday?
Oh, totally. I can sing every word of a 90s pop song but can't recall when the Constitution was written. Wait, was it 1789?
Close. It was written in 1787 and ratified in 1788. But see, your brain just needed a nudge. That's how memory works. It's not about perfect recall, it's about connections. Music, rhythm, emotion, they all lock things in. Want a trick for remembering 1787?
Please, I need all the help I can get.
Picture this. It's the summer of 87, not 1987 to 1787. Imagine a bunch of guys in powdered wigs sweating in Philadelphia, arguing about government. That scene, hot, loud, full of ideas, that's when the Constitution was written.
That's hilarious. I can totally picture that. Founding Fathers Gone Wild, Philadelphia edition.
Exactly. If you laugh, you remember. Humor is glue for the brain. The more emotion you attach to an answer, whether it's funny, dramatic, or visual, the less likely you'll forget it. For example, for the question, who was the first president? Picture George Washington crossing the Delaware River, holding a cup of coffee that says, "Number 1 Prez." It's ridiculous, but you'll never blank on it again.
I love this method. It feels like turning boring facts into a Netflix show in my head.
Perfect analogy. And when you're in the interview, those mental episodes play back faster than memorized lists. Now, another technique, chunking. Break information into small, connected groups. Don't try to memorize all 100 questions at once. Group them, like history, government, geography, symbols, and holidays.
So instead of 100 random facts, I have 5 storylines?
Exactly. And within each storyline, connect the dots. For example, in government, link questions together. Who makes federal laws? Congress. What are the 2 parts of Congress, Senate and House? How many senators? 100. How many representatives? 435. See the pattern?
Wow, that flows like a conversation instead of random trivia.
Right. You're creating context. Memory hates isolation. It thrives on meaning. Think of the test as a web, not a wall. Every thread connects to another.
That makes so much sense. And if I forget one part, maybe the connected idea will pull it back.
Exactly. That's how recall works. It's like fishing. You throw one line, and sometimes another answer comes up with it.
Okay, but what if I still draw a blank? Like, truly nothing comes.
Then we use the reset ritual. Take a breath, smile slightly, and shift your posture. It's like pressing the mental reset button. A few seconds of calm can bring the answer back. Never rush. Panic kills recall faster than anything.
That's true. My heart races, my palms sweat, and my mind shuts down.
Happens to everyone. I once had a student, Maria, who blanked on the question, "What is the supreme law of the land?" She stared at the officer for 10 seconds, then said, "Can I take a deep breath?" The officer smiled and said yes. She exhaled, pictured the words we'd practiced, the Constitution, and nailed it, passed with flying colors.
That's amazing. So it's okay to be human.
Always. Officers respect honesty and composure. If you forget, say, "I'm sorry, I studied that. May I have a moment?" That shows humility and effort, qualities they value.
I love that. It's not about being perfect, it's about showing commitment.
Exactly. Citizenship isn't a memory contest. It's a reflection of dedication. And sometimes those little recovery moments show more character than perfect answers.
You're turning my fear into motivation, Andrea.
That's the goal. Next time, we'll explore exactly what to say and do when you forget an answer in front of the officer. What words, what tone, and how to redirect with grace. But before we go, let's test one quick scenario. Ready?
Hit me.
You're at the interview. The officer asks, "Who signs bills to become laws?" You blank. What do you do?
First, I breathe. Then I say, "I'm sorry, could you please repeat the question?" They repeat it. I picture Congress writing the bill, and, aha, the president signs it.
Perfect recovery. That's exactly how pros do it. You didn't panic. You didn't freeze. You navigated it like a citizen in the making.
Honestly, this makes me look forward to the test instead of fearing it.
That's the spirit, David. Because the real test isn't just about remembering facts. It's about remembering who you are. Calm, capable, and ready to belong.
Part 2. How to remember the 100 civics questions without memorizing.
Welcome back, everyone. If you tuned in last time, David and I talked about what happens when your brain suddenly forgets an answer during the U.S. citizenship test, and how to keep calm and carry on. David, how's your confidence meter today?
I'd say it's at a solid 7. I'm not panicking anymore, but I still worry about the what-ifs. Like, what if I forget something and the officer looks disappointed?
Ah yes, the dreaded disappointed look. Let me tell you something. Officers aren't judging your worth. They're assessing your readiness. And readiness includes composure. A stumble doesn't define you. It's how you recover that makes the impression.
So, recovery is part of the test?
In a way, yes. Think of it like a driving test. You might stall at a stop sign, but if you calmly restart and keep driving safely, you still pass. Same with the interview. Forgetting an answer is your stall moment. The goal is to restart without panic.
I like that analogy. So, what's a graceful recovery supposed to sound like?
Let's role play. I'll be the officer. Ready? Who was president during the Great Depression and World War II?
Oh boy, Franklin Roosevelt?
Great. Notice what you just did. You didn't freeze. You let yourself think out loud. That's graceful recovery. You didn't rush. You didn't apologize repeatedly. You just processed naturally.
So it's okay to think aloud a little?
Definitely. The officer isn't expecting robotic answers. They want to hear you reason. Saying something like, "Let me think. That was during World War II, right? So the president was Franklin Roosevelt," shows thought and understanding.
That's reassuring, because I always thought hesitation looked bad.
Hesitation is human. The trick is to manage it. Think of your mind like a computer. It doesn't crash because it's thinking, it's just loading. Give it a second, and the answer appears.
Ha, that's exactly how my brain feels, spinning wheel and all.
Exactly. Now, sometimes people panic and start apologizing too much. "I'm sorry, I knew that, I'm so nervous." That actually distracts from your effort. Instead, use confidence phrases like, "Let me recall," or "I studied this one carefully, give me a moment."
So confidence isn't about knowing everything. It's about staying calm even when I don't.
You nailed it. Let me give you another trick. Redirecting. If you blank completely, pivot to related information. For example, if you forget the exact name of the U.S. representative, you can say, "I know representatives serve for 2 years and work in Congress." It shows comprehension even if you miss the specific detail.
That's clever. So it's like showing I understand the idea, even if I forget the name.
Exactly. Officers appreciate when you demonstrate genuine understanding. They see effort and grasp, not perfection. Remember, they're assessing your connection to the U.S., not your trivia score.
That takes off a lot of pressure. It makes me realize I'm allowed to be human.
Not just allowed, you should be. The interview isn't a punishment. It's a conversation about joining the American family. And in families, we all forget names sometimes. Just ask any uncle at a reunion.
Ha, that's true. So basically, stay calm, stay human, and show understanding.
Perfect summary. Forgetting is forgivable, but fear, that's optional. Now, let's shift gears. We've talked about what to do when you forget, but let's talk about how to make forgetting less likely in the first place. David, how are you studying right now?
Well, I read the list of 100 civics questions. Then I quiz myself. Then I panic when I realize I forgot half of them.
The read-repeat panic cycle. Don't worry, everyone starts there, but to truly internalize the material, you need to turn facts into feelings. Let's try that.
Facts into feelings? That sounds like therapy.
In a way, it is. Think of the civics questions as stories of human struggle, bravery, and belief. When you feel them, you remember them. For example, let's take what is the supreme law of the land, the Constitution. Instead of just memorizing, imagine the founders sitting by candlelight, debating how to build a nation that lasts. That mental movie sticks far longer than a flashcard.
That's true. I can actually see it. The candles, the parchment, the heated arguments, it's alive in my mind.
Exactly. Now, let's try another one. What did the Emancipation Proclamation do? Instead of the flat answer, it freed the slaves. Feel the emotion behind it. Picture Abraham Lincoln holding that document, knowing the country could split apart but choosing justice anyway. That memory carries power.
You're right. It's not just about facts, it's about meaning. I'll remember that image forever.
And that's how you convert data into memory. Now, to strengthen recall, use the teach-back technique. After studying a few questions, explain them to someone else, in your own words. You could even talk to your pet or your mirror. Teaching locks knowledge in place.
My cat's about to become a U.S. history expert.
Perfect. You'll both benefit. And one more method, location memory. Assign questions to physical spaces. For example, put the president in your kitchen, Congress in your living room, the Supreme Court in your bedroom. As you mentally walk through your home, the answers come to you like souvenirs.
That's fascinating. So, my house becomes a map of American government?
Exactly. The ancient Greeks called it a memory palace. If it worked for philosophers, it'll work for you. It turns study into imagination.
I wish school had been taught like this. It's actually fun now.
That's the secret. Learning should engage the senses, not just the eyes. You remember better when you smile while studying. And when the day of the interview comes, your brain will find those answers naturally.
I can already feel that happening. Like when I hear, rule of law, I instantly picture a judge's gavel echoing in a courtroom.
Exactly. You're forming mental cues. Those cues will guide you when nerves try to interfere. And if you do forget, those images will pull the answer back faster than panic ever could.
It's funny. You've turned the scariest part of the test into something exciting.
That's because citizenship isn't just about memorizing, it's about connecting. Each question is a bridge between you and America's story. When you walk that bridge with understanding, you don't just pass the test, you belong to it.
That's beautiful. I feel like this process is changing the way I see the U.S., not just as a country, but as an idea that keeps growing.
Exactly. And your story becomes part of that idea. You're not just learning the answers, you're joining the conversation that started in 1776 and continues every day. So when you forget an answer, remember this. The interview isn't testing if you're perfect. It's testing if you care enough to keep learning.
I'll carry that with me. Honestly, Andrea, this feels less like a test and more like an invitation.
That's exactly what it is, David. An invitation to participate, to contribute, and to keep the American story alive. And next time, we'll dive into how to handle the English portion of the interview while staying confident, calm, and maybe even having fun with it.
Fun and the English test in the same sentence? I'm intrigued already.
Then you'll love what's coming next. But for now, breathe easy, study smart, and remember, forgetting is just the first step to remembering better.
United States Part 3. The mindset that helps you pass the U.S. citizenship test with confidence.
Welcome back to Citizenship Confidence Live, David. Last time we turned your study routine from stressful to strategic. How's your memory palace holding up?
Pretty good. My kitchen now belongs to the president, my living room to Congress, and the Supreme Court has officially taken over my bedroom. I even dreamt John Roberts was giving me homework.
Ha! That's a dedicated student right there. But that shows you're internalizing the information. When the answers start showing up in your dreams, you're ready.
I'm still nervous about the actual test day, though. What if I walk into the USCIS office and suddenly feel like my brain's been wiped clean?
That's where practice comes in. Smart practice, not just repetition. Have you tried simulating the real interview?
You mean like pretending you're the officer and I'm the applicant?
Exactly. Practicing in the same format as the test helps your brain get comfortable with the rhythm. Let's try one. Ready?
Let's do it.
All right. What is the rule of law?
It means everyone must follow the law, even leaders and government officials.
Perfect. You didn't just memorize, you understood it. Now imagine you blanked for a second. What would you do?
I'd pause, take a breath, and maybe say, "Could you repeat the question, please?" Then when you do, I'd visualize that courtroom gavel you mentioned earlier.
Beautiful recovery. You're demonstrating exactly what officers want to see: poise and effort. Remember, they're trained to read your attitude as much as your answers.
So they're not grading like strict teachers. They're observing how I handle pressure.
Exactly. Think of it like being interviewed for citizenship, not quizzed for it. The test is the structure, but the conversation is about you joining this nation's story.
That helps so much. I guess practice isn't about being flawless, it's about being familiar.
Precisely. Familiarity builds confidence. Do mock interviews with friends, your cat, your reflection, anyone. Record your answers and play them back. Hearing your voice reinforces learning.
That's smart. I've always hated my recorded voice, but maybe it'll sound smarter if it's saying, "The Constitution is the supreme law of the land."
Ha! See? You're already thinking like a citizen scholar. When you practice enough, your body remembers even when your mind momentarily forgets. It's muscle memory for the brain.
Like a pianist playing a song they've rehearsed 100 times. They don't think about every note.
Exactly. And the more you play, the smoother the performance. Except in your case, the song is Ode to Citizenship.
Catchy title. I'll put that on my study playlist.
Just remember, every question you answer brings you closer to that moment when the officer says, "Congratulations." Now, let's talk about something deeper than memorization: connection. During the interview, you're not only recalling facts, you're communicating them. How comfortable are you speaking English in formal situations?
Honestly, I'm okay in casual conversation, but when someone official is across the table, my tongue suddenly forgets grammar. I know the answers, but they come out sounding like a riddle.
Totally normal. The key is clarity, not perfection. The officer doesn't expect fancy vocabulary or perfect accent. They just need to understand you. If you speak calmly and clearly, you're golden.
So it's not like an English exam at school?
Not at all. The English portion is integrated naturally into your interview. The officer evaluates your comprehension through basic questions like, "How are you today?" or "Please read this sentence." You're already demonstrating English simply by communicating.
That's comforting. I always imagined it like a grammar interrogation.
Oh no, think of it more like a friendly exchange. The officer might say, "What did you do this morning?" They just want to see you understand and respond. It's your chance to relax and connect.
That helps, but what if nerves make me stumble on a word?
Then laugh gently, correct yourself, and move on. Humor and humility are powerful tools. One of my students once said, "I'm very nervy." "No, I mean nervous." The officer smiled, and that broke the ice.
I like that. So showing personality isn't a bad thing.
Exactly. This is a human conversation, not a robotic test. You're showing who you are as a future citizen, respectful, engaged, and sincere. And remember, small talk matters. If the officer asks about the weather or your day, answer warmly. It sets a positive tone.
That makes sense. It's like when you meet someone new, you build rapport first.
Yes, and that rapport makes the interview smoother. When you connect emotionally, your anxiety fades and your memory improves. The human brain recalls better in friendly settings.
That's fascinating. So even smiling can help me remember?
It really can. Smiling releases tension. Plus, it's contagious. Officers often smile back. That's when the conversation feels like teamwork instead of a test.
You know, I've started noticing that studying for this test is teaching me more than history. It's teaching me confidence.
That's the beauty of it. The citizenship process is as much personal growth as it is education. You're not just learning answers, you're learning how to represent yourself, how to speak with purpose, patience, and pride.
I never thought of it like that. I feel like every time I practice, I'm becoming more a part of this country's rhythm.
That's exactly what's happening. Citizenship isn't just a status. It's a conversation between who you are and the ideals of the U.S. Constitution. And every time you speak those answers, you're participating in that dialogue.
That's really inspiring. I think I'm starting to love this process instead of fearing it.
That's the transformation, David. You've moved from fear to fascination. Once that happens, forgetting becomes almost impossible, because now every answer means something to you personally. We've come full circle today. You started worried about forgetting an answer, and now you sound like someone who could teach the test. How do you feel about the journey?
Honestly, proud. A few weeks ago, I thought the citizenship test was this mountain I'd never climb. Now it feels like a trail with scenic stops along the way. Every question tells a story, and I actually enjoy studying.
That's the best compliment to the process. You've turned anxiety into curiosity. And that's exactly what makes a great citizen, someone who keeps asking, learning, and growing.
You know what changed it for me? Realizing that forgetting isn't failure. It's just a signal to look at the information differently.
Beautifully said. Forgetting is your brain's way of saying, "Teach me again," but this time with meaning. When you approach study with emotion and context, memory follows naturally.
I think my favorite part was when you said the test isn't a quiz, it's a conversation about joining the American family. That totally reframed it for me.
I'm glad, because that's what naturalization really is. An invitation, not an interrogation. You're proving not that you're flawless, but that you're ready to participate.
That makes me think of one of the questions. What is one promise you make when you become a United States citizen? The answer is to be loyal to the United States, right?
That's right. But think about what loyalty means. It's not blind obedience. It's dedication to the country's ideals, freedom, equality, and justice. So when you say you'll be loyal, you're promising to uphold those principles.
That gives me chills. I never realized how meaningful that line is.
Exactly. The test is full of those quiet promises. When you understand the heart behind each one, you carry them with you for life. That's the real reward.
You've made the test feel less like memorizing facts and more like learning the lyrics to a song I'll keep singing as a citizen.
What a perfect image. The citizenship process is like learning America's anthem, not just the national one, but the living anthem of its values. Every citizen adds their own verse.
So even if I forget a lyric now and then, the melody keeps going.
Exactly. You don't need perfection, you need participation. And now you've got both heart and skill.
I can't wait for test day. I'm still a little nervous, but it feels like the good kind of nervous. The kind that says, you're ready.
And you are. Remember, if you blank on one answer, breathe, smile, and move forward. One forgotten answer doesn't erase your preparation. You've built understanding, and that always shines through.
I'll keep that in mind. I feel like I owe you a lot for helping me see the bigger picture.
You did the hard work, David. I just helped you find the light switch.
That's the best kind of teaching.
Before we wrap up, let's summarize for anyone studying out there. Don't panic if you forget. Pause, breathe, ask for repetition. Use images, stories, and humor to make answers stick. Practice with mock interviews until you feel at home with the format. Remember, the test is a conversation, not a trap. And above all, connect to the meaning behind every answer.
That's the best checklist ever. I think I'll tape it above my study desk.
Do that and add a note that says, I belong here because you do. Citizenship isn't the end of your journey. It's the beginning of your contribution.
That means a lot, Andrea. This whole talk has been more than preparation, it's been inspiration.
Then my job is done. When you walk into that USCIS office, remember every moment we've shared here. You're not just answering questions, you're stepping into history.
And if I forget one answer, I'll remember your advice. Stay calm, stay human, and keep singing the song.
Exactly. You're ready for your finale, David. The day you raise your right hand and take the oath of allegiance. That's when everything you've learned becomes real.
I can already picture it. And when they say, congratulations, you are now a United States citizen, I'll think of this moment and smile.
That's the moment we've been building toward. And when it comes, you'll know you didn't just study for a test. You prepared for a new chapter.
Thank you, Andrea, for the lessons, the stories, and the laughter.
My pleasure, David. And to everyone listening, remember, even if you forget an answer, never forget why you're doing this. Citizenship isn't about memory. It's about meaning. Keep studying, keep believing, and one day soon, you'll be the one saying, I did it.
And I can't wait for that day.
Then it's settled, you're ready. Welcome, future citizen.